On June 21st, 2025, 7 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers roared out of Missouri. They were loaded with bunker-busting firepower, and they were on a mission to erase Iran's nuclear program. This is Operation Midnight Hammer, the gutsiest B-2 strike ever. It's a brutal display of stealth, tech, and precision that left Iran flat-footed. Welcome to the Max Afterburner channel. I'm Ryan, also known as the fighter pilot next door, and today we're tearing into the jets, the weapons, and the slick deception that made this a one-way fight. Strap in, this one's gonna hit hard. And this is the official graphic from the Pentagon of Operation Midnight Hammer. So as you can see, those 7 B-2 stealth bombers are gonna have tanker support as they cross the pond and head east to the strike area. They're gonna enter the strike area escorted by 5th and 4th generation fighters, and we're gonna get into this entire mission throughout this video. And we're gonna get into how this strike package teamed up to make it all happen. So stay to the end of the video to see what resulted out of this massive operation. So this was the strike that broke Iran's nuclear spine, and Iran's been pushing its nuclear agenda, enriching uranium in hardened sites like Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Fordow's the toughest nut to crack. It's buried 300 feet under a mountain with layers of concrete and steel. It's built to shrug off anything short of Armageddon. But on June 1st, 2025, the US said no more, and Operation Midnight Hammer was the answer, a high-stakes mission to gut Iran's nuclear ambitions. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff called it a complex, high-risk mission pulled off with ice-cold precision. Over 125 aircraft, submarines, and tech that makes the latest sci-fi movies look dated. These assets crushed it. Iran didn't even have time to blink until it was too late. So let's break down the hardware and the head games that sealed the deal. And this was the US playing 4D chess while Iran was stuck on checkers. Let's start with the B-2s and their slick opening move. The B-2 stealth bomber, you can think of it as an invisible predator. This was the fist of Operation Midnight Hammer. 7 of these $2 billion war machines launched from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri for an 18-hour one-way, 37-hour round-trip mission. This is the second longest B-2 flight in history, only topped by post-9/11 missions. And these aren't just planes. They're stealth platforms that rewrite aerial warfare. The B-2 doesn't sneak into airspace. Airspace bends over and begs the B-2 to enter. Yeah, I said it. With radar-absorbent coatings and a bat-wing design, the B-2's radar signature is smaller than a hummingbird's. Iran's defenses didn't see squat, and those 4 General Electric F-118 engines drive it and push it at 600 miles per hour with a 6,000-mile range. But this mission needed multiple air refuelings from KC-135s and KC-46 tankers. Think high-stakes Formula One pit stops at 40,000 feet. No big deal. Here's where things get slick. To screw with Iran, some B-2s took off from Whiteman and vectored west towards Guam as a head fake. General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said this was a decoy move known only to tight circles of planners within Washington, D.C. And this drew Iran's attention to the Pacific, while the main strike package of 7 B-2s slipped east to Iran, running silent with encrypted satellite links and zero chatter. It was a middle finger to Iran's intel, setting the stage for the real hit. And each B-2 packed a punch. Each one carried 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators. And these are bombs that don't ask for permission. Permission asks the GBU-57. The pilots that fly with these bombs call them the bunker killer. And the GBU-57 is a massive ordnance penetrator, or a MOP. It's a 30,000-pound beast designed to gut fortified targets. This 20-foot-long missile packs 6,000 pounds of explosives in a 24,000-pound steel casing that slices through over 200 feet of steel, earth, and concrete like a hot knife through butter. General Kane confirmed that 14 MOPs were dropped. This is the first combat usage of this game changer. Mountains don't stop the GBU-57. They part ways, they create a little canyon, and they just let it through. The GBU-57 doesn't just detonate, it re-explains the landscape plan to the earth. The GBU-57 doesn't just penetrate, it makes bunkers beg for more. The GBU-57 slides in so deep, even Fordow's nuclear bunkers blush before it blows. You get the idea. At 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:10 a.m. in Iran, the lead B-2 dropped 2 MOPs on Fordow's underground fortresses. Over the next 25 minutes, 12 more hammered Fordow and Natanz, turning Iran's nuclear hub into craters. Fordow's mountain bunker was no match. It's like trying to block a wrecking ball with a cardboard box. Official damage assessment is still in the works, but it looks like this was a sweeping success. And Iran's air defenses, useless. General Kane said their fighters stayed parked, and their SAMs didn't even ping the B-2s. The MOPs and the stealth tech made this a clean hit, and Iran didn't launch any fighter jets, unfortunately. No F-14s, since some of those have been taken out, and no F-4s launched either, since a lot of those have been struck in the underground bunkers that they've been housed in. So unfortunately, those jets didn't launch and help write the script for Top Gun 3. Well, you can't win them all. So let's talk about Tomahawk cruise missiles and the submarine Sting. While the B-2s were rewriting Fordo and Natanz, a U.S. submarine, likely a Virginia class, unleashed a barrage from the Central Command region. At 5 p.m. Eastern Time, it fired over 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles at Isfahan's nuclear site. The Tomahawks don't follow flight paths. Flight paths follow the Tomahawks. These 18-foot missiles fly at 550 miles per hour using GPS and terrain-hugging radar to hit hardened targets 1,000 miles away with their 1,000-pound warhead. They're like guided sharks weaving through valleys to stay off radar. Their onboard AI outsmarts most defenses, adjusting mid-flight for pinpoint strikes. Just when I thought nothing could get cooler with sharks with freaking laser beams, now we've got the Tomahawk. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said the Tomahawks hit last to keep Iran off balance and preserve the essence of surprise for the B-2s. So as the B-2s crushed Fordo and Natanz, Tomahawk missiles slammed into Isfahan's surface structure, completing a three-pronged knockout. It was a surgical, ruthless, and perfectly timed strike. Let's talk about the fighter jets, the B-2's high-class bouncers and enforcers. Those B-2s were definitely not solo. They had protection, and they had a protection package of 4th and 5th gen fighters that owned the skies. The Pentagon graphic confirms F-22 Raptors led the charge, likely with F-35 Lightning IIs, F-15E Strike Eagles, and F-16 Fighting Falcons in the mix. That's based on a standard U.S. tactic for a massive 125 jet strike package. These jets were the B-2's shield and sword. The F-22, a 5th gen stealth beast, supercruises at Mach 1.5 out front in front of the B-2s and carried AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles ready to erase any enemy fighters that were unlucky enough to take off. The F-22 doesn't dodge radars. Radars duck and cover when the F-22 flies by. And the F-35, another 5th gen monster, is a flying supercomputer with 360-degree sensors. The F-35 doesn't jam signals. Signals surrender to the F-35's will. In Operation Midnight Hammer, the F-35s likely took the point right beside the F-22s. Each F-35 likely was carrying 2 AGM-158 JASSM stealth missiles, and their primary objective was to get these AGM-158s off of their jet. They likely launched these JASSMs long range to take out enemy air defenses, and once those 2 JASSMs left the F-35, now the F-35 is full stealth, since those JASSMs need to be carried externally on the F-35. But the F-35 used those JASSMs to hunt any unlucky SAM systems with their internal electronic warfare suite. And then the F-15E Strike Eagle, the first love of my life, the aircraft that I flew in for 70 combat missions, is a 4th generation workhorse, and it followed with serious firepower behind the F-22s and F-35s. And Project Strike Rodeo, a secretive U.S. Strike Eagle project, proved that the F-15E can haul 5 JASSMs, and in this operation, multiple 4 ships of F-15Es likely released JASSMs. These 1,000-pound warhead beasts likely roared off of these F-15Es to obliterate any SAM sites and radars from up to 450 nautical miles out. And then the F-16 Fighting Falcon backed them up, slinging AGM HARM missiles to fry any radars and launching JDAMs to take out any radars or SAM systems for precision hits. General Kane said these fighters flew high and fast ahead of the B-2s, using high-speed suppression weapons like the JASSMs and HARMs to neutralize threats before these threats could even blink. And again, unfortunately, Iran's Air Force AWOL. No fighters scrambled, no SAMs fired. The F-22s and F-35 stealth plus the decoy tactics ghosted the strike package. The F-15Es and F-16s were ready to light up anything that moved, but Iran didn't dare. This was a masterclass in air dominance. Operation Midnight Hammer was a tech juggernaut across air, sea, cyber, and space. General Kane said U.S. Strategic Command, Cyber Command, Space Command, Transportation Command, and European Command all synced up like a well-oiled machine. Cyber Command likely scrambled Iran's comms or fed them fake radar blips. Space Command delivered satellite imagery and GPS precision. Over 125 aircraft, B-2s, fighters, tankers, RQ-4 Global Hawks provided the ISR, the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, and that all ran on encrypted data links with near zero chatter. pulling off a global operation with surgical accuracy. Iran's defenses didn't just miss the strike package. The strike package told Iran's defenses to go ahead and sit this one out, okay, little buddy? So Operation Silent Hammer was like orchestrating a silent, worldwide 4D chess game combined with the Super Bowl, except there were 125 players on the field, and they landed 14 long Hail Mary touchdown passes. Guam was the head fake, then they had the stealth, the timing. It was all checkmate before Iran even saw the board. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff went on to say, this type of integration is exactly what our joint forces does better than anyone in the world. What about the damage? Well, likely catastrophic. General Kane said that initial reports show extremely severe damage to Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. That's 75 plus precision weapons in total. 14 MOPs, 24 plus Tomahawks, and JASSMs and HARMs, plus likely more JDAMs. This reduces Iran's nuclear sites to rubble. Fordo's bunkers likely caved in. Natanz's centrifuges scrap. Isfahan's infrastructure annihilated. The RQ-4 is hard at work doing battle damage assessment to confirm that, and it was built for this type of thing. And likely in the coming hours, U-2 spy plane pilots will be suiting up to take to the skies for even more battle damage assessment. This was a decisive blow, and the satellite imagery backs it up. Iran's nuclear program is on its knees, and the strike package has safely returned home. Operation Midnight Hammer was a flex of unmatched power. The US showed it can strike anywhere, anytime with tech and firepower no one can touch. From the B-2's Guam head fake that would make even Sun Tzu proud, to the MOP's bunker-busting fury being used for the first time in combat. And then the F-22, the F-35, F-15Es, and F-16 sky dominance. And then the Tomahawk missiles' surgical stings. This was a massive lesson in why the US military runs the game. So a tip of the hat to the airmen maintainers that got the jets airborne, the pilots, the sailors, the cyber operators, and the planners for their skill, discipline, and teamwork. In Iran, they're picking up the pieces, and I'll keep you updated on where this conflict goes from here and what Iran does to respond. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That would help me out a ton. And then check out this video right here. That's basically the biggest compliment you can give me, is to watch this video. And this one is teed up especially for you, so I think you'll really enjoy it. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, also known as the fighter pilot next door, signing off.